The canyon stretches wide and endless, its walls painted in layers of crimson, gold, and shadow. As the sun dips low, the sky bleeds with fire, casting jagged cliffs into silhouettes that feel older than time itself. The wind whips through the abyss, carrying with it the faint cry of a raven. Then, the camera slows, pulling us closer, lower, toward a lonely ledge where something unnatural waits. A pair of shoes, weathered but intact, perfectly balanced on the edge of 1,000 foot. Drop, no body, no footprints leading away. Just shoes, swaying gently as though left there on purpose. The desert holds its breath. He was a tourist, far from home, chasing beauty in one of the most magnificent and unforgiving places on earth. The Grand Canyon, a place of wonder, a place of danger. For centuries, it has pulled people into its depths, some who returned with stories of awe, others who never returned at all. The canyon can kill in silence. A misstep, a sudden gust of wind, the sun baking the body until it collapses. And yet, it also whispers, drawing people to its edges, daring them to look too long into the abyss. He had been mesmerized by its vastness. His journey began like countless others. A flight to Arizona, a rental car, a reservation at a modest lodge in Grand Canyon Village. His camera, always at his side, captured the familiar. Gas stations along the desert highway, the glowing lights. Of small towns, the first glimpse of the canyon's rim where the earth seemed to fall away into forever. On social media, his words carried excitement. It doesn't even feel real, like another planet. The day before he vanished, he walked the crowded overlooks with other tourists, snapping photos, smiling in selfies. He was not reckless, not the kind who strayed too close to danger. He bought bottled water, trail mix, sunscreen, a paper park map from a gift shop. That night, he texted his family, "Tomorrow I'll try one of the trails down, just a short hike. I'll check in after." There was no fear in his words, only awe. The morning came with desert light flooding his lodge window. He was seen leaving, wearing sturdy shoes, camera strapped to his neck, a small backpack slung over his shoulders. A witness remembered him, pausing at the edge of the lot, gazing out toward the canyon as if he couldn't believe the scale. That was the last confirmed sighting of him alive. By evening, when his family tried to reach him, there was no reply. His phone rang, then cut to silence. Park rangers began the search. Hours stretched into a day, then into 2. And then they found it. On a narrow ledge where few dared to step, there they were, his shoes, perfectly balanced at the edge of the abyss. The rocks around them told no story. No skid marks, no dirt displaced, no sign of a fall. Just silence and an unanswerable question. How does a man walk into the canyon and leave only his shoes behind? The sun blazes over the canyon, but down. Below, the shadows stretch long and deep, swallowing entire valleys in darkness. Search and rescue teams gather at the rim, their boots crunching against the gravel, radios hissing with static. From above, the Grand Canyon seems deceptively open. But those who know it understand the truth. Once you descend, the landscape becomes a maze of cliffs, hidden ravines, and trails that disappear into nothing. Every year, hikers vanish here. Some are found days later, dehydrated and disoriented. Others are never seen again. Helicopters roar overhead, blades cutting the silence, their searchlights sweeping across the walls of stone. Rangers scan the cliffs for any sign of movement, any piece of fabric, any body clinging to the rock. But there's nothing, only silence, the wind, and the relentless echo of the Colorado River far below. Volunteers arrive, locals who know the land, carrying extra water and ropes. The heat becomes merciless, climbing past 100 degrees, baking every rock until it radiates like fire. Even experienced rescuers are forced to retreat during the hottest hours. As the search drags on, frustration builds. The shoes remain the only clue, sitting almost mockingly on that ledge. Some believe They must have been staged. No one just slips out of their shoes like that, a ranger mutters under his breath. Not in that position, not so neatly. But without footprints, without broken rock, the mystery deepens. Family members arrive, their faces hollowed by sleepless nights. They clutch photographs of him, hoping that by showing his smile, someone will remember anything. His mother breaks down near the rim, her voice carried away by the canyon wind. His father paces, demanding answers, asking why more dogs aren't being used, why drones can't go deeper, why a place so visited by millions could swallow his son whole. The media descends quickly, cameras flashing, reporters whispering words like bizarre and sinister. Rumors spread in the nearby town. Some say he fell, his body hidden somewhere in the canyon's depths. Others whisper darker theories that something else happened, something not so natural. The canyon has always carried legends. Stories of spirits that lure travelers toward the edge. Stories of people vanishing into secret caves. Old tales from native tribes who warned that some parts of the canyon are not meant for the living. As days pass, the search expands outward. Rangers scour side trails. Volunteers check abandoned campsites. Nothing surfaces, no backpack, no camera, no clothing. It's as if he dissolved into the air. Then comes the first strange report. A tourist swears they heard a man's voice echoing through the canyon one evening. Calls for help carried on the wind. Rescuers rushed to the area, but found nothing. No fresh tracks, no disturbed earth, no human presence at all. Another hiker reports seeing a figure standing near the rim at sunset, only for it to vanish when she looked again. Skeptics dismiss these claims as tricks of the light, the brain, playing games in the heat. But to others, it feels like the canyon is hiding its own secrets. The shoes remain the center of everything, the only tangible clue, a monument to his disappearance. Balanced perfectly, unmoved by the wind, unmoved by time. Almost waiting. And as the sun sinks again into the horizon, painting the sky in blood-red light, the canyon feels heavier, as if it knows, as if it remembers. Night falls on the Grand Canyon like a slow, deliberate curtain. The tourists leave, their cars snaking. Out of the park, headlights glowing faintly in the desert dusk. The overlook becomes silent, the air colder, the stars spilling across the sky in staggering numbers. For the family, this is the hardest time. The canyon becomes a black void, the trails invisible, the cliffs swallowing every ounce of light. Somewhere in that abyss, they believe, their son is waiting. Investigators begin piecing together the last hours of his life, retracing his steps from the beginning. His check-in at the lodge seems uneventful. The receptionist remembers him as polite, a little distracted, but cheerful. At a small cafe in town that morning, he ordered black coffee and eggs, leaving behind a receipt timed just before sunrise. CCTV footage from a nearby gas station shows him topping off his car, the timestamp aligning perfectly with the timeline. His family recalls. The mystery begins when he parked his car at a remote trailhead. Rangers find it locked, keys missing, with his backpack and a half-empty water bottle inside. This makes no sense to them. No hiker ventures out into the canyon without supplies, especially not in the summer heat. Some wonder if he planned to come back quickly. Others whisper that maybe someone else drove the car there, arranging it like a prop. Witness statements add both clarity and confusion. A woman hiking alone claims she saw a man matching his description walking toward a side trail just after noon. Another hiker says he noticed a lone figure near an exposed ridge, standing unusually still, gazing out over the abyss. But times don't match and details blur. Was it him? Or was it someone else? Cell tower data provides only fragments. His phone last pinged a tower on the south rim just before 1 p.m., then went silent. No outgoing calls, no texts, no photos. Uploaded. His digital presence vanished, as though someone had flipped a switch. Rangers tried to track the device with specialized equipment, but in the Grand Canyon, signals bounce unpredictably, echoes in a labyrinth of stone. Stranger still, a couple from Europe reported seeing a man sitting on a rock ledge around sunset. They remembered him because of his shoes bright white against the rust-red earth. He looked calm, almost meditative. They assumed he was watching the sunset and didn't disturb him. Only later, after seeing his face on the news, did they realize it might have been him. But when rescuers searched that area, they found nothing. Nothing except for the shoes themselves. Discovered the following morning. Investigators hold them carefully, noting how they were placed, side by side, toes pointed out toward the abyss. They weren't scuffed, not torn or ripped as if from a fall. They looked almost arranged, and beneath them, on the dusty cliff surface, no footprints trailed away. No sign of struggle. Just an ending. His family struggles to accept what this could mean. Did he remove them willingly? Did someone else put them there? His mother insists he was afraid of heights and would never step so close to the edge without reason. His sister swears the shoes are a message, a sign that something unnatural happened. Investigators stay silent, unwilling to speculate, but behind closed doors, theories swirl. Some wonder if he met someone out there, a stranger who lured him off the trail. A meeting that went wrong. Others consider darker forces, suicides staged to look like accidents, the canyon's reputation as a place where people go to vanish by choice. But the family refuses to believe it. He wasn't the type to give up. He was full of plans, sending texts just days earlier about the places he wanted to see next, the photos he wanted to take. He had booked tickets for another park, proof of his future. This was not a man planning an end. The canyon, however, holds no answers. At night, the search becomes impossible. The winds howl, rattling through the cliffs, creating sounds that resemble voices calling in the dark. Some rescuers admit, quietly, that it's hard to tell what's real and what's illusion out there. More than one describes hearing footsteps echoing behind them, only to turn and find nothing. And so, the shoes remain. The only proof of his presence, the only sign he was ever there. Balanced on that ledge, watching the abyss. A symbol of everything. Unsolved, but just as investigators start to lose hope, something new emerges, a discovery that will change the course of the search. Morning light creeps back across the canyon, revealing shadows that shift and stretch like phantoms on the walls. Search teams gather again at the trailhead, weary but determined. The shoes balanced on the ledge are still on everyone's mind, an image no one can shake. But the canyon is vast, and they know there must be more. Helicopters buzz overhead, scanning the cliffs, while ground teams push deeper into side trails and ravines that have swallowed countless hikers before. It doesn't take long before new fragments of the mystery appear. A mile from where the shoes were found, tucked in the brush, rangers uncover a single sock. It's dirt-stained but intact, and it matches the kind the tourist's family says he always wore: white athletic socks, packed neatly in pairs. But the strangest detail is its placement, folded almost carefully, not tossed or ripped away in panic. Why would someone leave it behind? Nearby, a ranger notices faint indentations in the sand, as if someone had knelt or sat down for a long time. The prints are shallow, half erased by wind, impossible to measure exactly. But their presence stirs unease. Had he been resting there, watching something, waiting for someone? Or was it where he was last alive? Then comes another clue. Volunteers. Combing a narrow trail, find a discarded plastic water bottle wedged between rocks. The label is the same brand bought in a Grand Canyon gift shop. Tests later confirm fingerprints that match the missing man's. The bottle is empty, crumpled in a way that suggests it had been squeezed tightly, perhaps in frustration or exhaustion. For investigators, it is both hopeful and haunting proof. He walked this far, proof he survived longer than anyone first believed. But hope collides with confusion when new witness statements arrive. A man camping at the canyon's rim swears he saw someone moving with a flashlight in the canyon below on the night of the disappearance. The beam of light flickered, paused, then vanished as if swallowed by the dark. Another hiker claims they heard shouting echoing through the walls too far away to distinguish the words, but clear enough to send chills through their bones. Rangers follow up, but the terrain distorts sound. What seems near might be miles away, or not human at all. The family clings to these reports, their desperation growing. They spend hours at the command post, studying maps, begging search leaders to follow every rumor, every distant sound. The mother's hands tremble as she holds her son's photo, showing it to hikers, rangers, even tourists passing by. His father insists on joining searches, pushing his body to exhaustion under the punishing sun. His sister, pale from sleepless nights, records video updates for social media, pleading for anyone with information to come forward. The world begins to watch, their tragedy unfolding across headlines and TV screens. The canyon, however, offers only silence in return. Dogs brought to the site pick up a faint scent near the ledge but lose it abruptly, as if the trail simply vanishes. Helicopters hover, their spotlights tracing every crevice, but nothing stirs. The desert seems to mock the efforts, keeping its secrets buried in stone. And yet, something more unsettling surfaces. A group of hikers arrives at the ranger station with a photo they captured the same evening the man went missing. In the image, the canyon is bathed in twilight, the cliffs glowing orange. But at the far edge, zoomed in, a lone figure can be seen. Standing motionless, watching. His stance is eerily similar to the man described in other reports, though the image is too grainy to confirm his identity. Still, his shoes catch the fading light bright, unmistakable, like a beacon against the rock. If that was him, then where did he go afterward? Theories multiply. Some searchers believe he fell, swept into one of the canyon's hidden chasms where no one could ever retrieve him. Others whisper about foul play, that maybe he was followed, stalked, lured to the ledge where his shoes were left behind. And among locals, the canyon's darker legends resurface, the idea that the land itself swallows the lost, offering only fragments as cruel reminders. By the end of the week, the official search winds down. Authorities cite dangerous conditions, extreme heat, and diminishing chances of survival. But his family refuses to leave. They continue walking the trails themselves, carrying flashlights into the night, calling his name into the abyss. And one night, just as they are about to give up, they hear something faint, distant. A sound that chills them to the bone. It's a voice. Weak, ragged, carried by the canyon winds. It echoes once, then fades, leaving nothing but silence. Was it real, or just the canyon playing tricks? The answer lies ahead. In the next discovery, something far more disturbing than a pair of shoes. The canyon reveals its next secret in the most unsettling way. A week after the official search had been called off, a group of experienced climbers decides to explore a narrow side canyon, a place rangers had marked as too treacherous for ground teams. The descent is brutal: loose rock, crumbling ledges, the oppressive silence of a place that rarely sees human presence. And then, halfway down, wedged between boulders, they find it. A backpack. At first glance, it looks ordinary, dust-covered, straps frayed from sun and stone. But when it's lifted, the weight feels wrong. It isn't heavy with camping supplies, food, or gear. Inside, the contents are sparse. A half-empty journal, some personal items, and most disturbingly, a phone, wrapped tightly in a plastic bag. The journal pages are warped from moisture, but several entries are still legible. The last words scrawled across a torn sheet read, "Something is wrong. I feel watched. I don't think I'm alone out here." Investigators seize on the phone. Weeks of anticipation build as digital forensics work to unlock it, hoping for GPS data, messages, or anything to explain his final hours. When the images finally appear, they are haunting. Dozens of photographs taken in the canyon, towering cliffs, the ground beneath his feet, blurry shots of the night sky. But then the photos grow stranger close-ups of shadows cast on rock, indistinct figures in the distance, and one photo that chills everyone who sees it. Taken in darkness, illuminated only by the faint beam of a flashlight, it shows what appears to be a man's silhouette standing on a ledge, staring directly toward the camera. The family is devastated. His mother insists he must have taken those photos out of fear, documenting someone who was following him. His sister believes they prove foul play. Others argue the shapes could be illusions, the product of exhaustion and paranoia in a landscape known for distorting sight and sound. Yet the journal entries suggest otherwise. His words grow more frantic, more disjointed, as though he was unraveling in real time. And then there are the final photos, snapped in rapid succession, each more blurred than the last. The last one shows nothing but the rocky ground, as if the phone slipped from his hands mid-stride. After that, silence. No outgoing calls, no messages, no trace of what came next. The discovery reignites the case. Media swarms back to the canyon. Headlines scream of haunting journal entries and mystery photos. Social media explodes with theories. Was he stalked by another hiker? Did he cross paths with someone who wanted him gone? Or was the canyon itself responsible, dragging him into the same abyss that has claimed so many before? Police reopen their investigation, this time using advanced drone mapping and heat detection scans. They analyze ocean-weathered patterns in the photos' metadata, comparing times and locations, trying to trace his last steps. But the canyon remains uncooperative, its endless labyrinth offering no clear path. Meanwhile, locals whisper of a darker possibility. Some say the canyon is cursed, a place where spirits linger, where those who wander alone are claimed by forces unseen. Old Navajo stories are told again of shadow figures said to follow the lost, of the echoing voices that call travelers deeper until they vanish forever. To the grieving family, such stories feel like salt in the wound. To others, they fit too well with the fragments of evidence left behind. By now, the shoes balanced on the cliff feel less like a tragic accident and more like a message, a marker. Perhaps left by him, perhaps placed by someone else, perhaps something else entirely. And just when it seems the trail has gone cold, a ranger reviewing aerial footage from the search notices something overlooked. In the background of one clip, filmed days after his disappearance, a faint white shape rests far below the canyon rim, in an area considered unreachable without ropes. Zooming in, it looks eerily familiar. It appears to be clothing. The discovery sends shivers through the team. Is it a vital clue to his fate or another cruel trick of the canyon's shifting light? The next descent will answer the question. But the truth they're about to find will not bring comfort. It will only deepen the mystery. The next descent begins at dawn. A special recovery team, armed with ropes, harnesses, and drones, prepares to reach the spot where the strange white shape was seen. The air is still, the canyon eerily quiet, as if holding its breath. Step by step, the climbers lower themselves down the jagged wall, the sun painting long shadows across the cliffs. The silence is broken only by the sound of rope sliding and the faint clatter of stone underfoot. When they finally reach the ledge, what they find is not what anyone expected. There, caught between rocks, is a torn white shirt. Time and weather have bleached it pale, but closer inspection reveals it once matched the description of the missing man's clothes. The shirt is shredded, as if torn by force, snagged on sharp stone or by something pulling against it. Nearby, a small pile of bones rests in the dust, scattered and bleached. But the discovery raises more questions than it answers. The bones are incomplete, and investigators cannot confirm if they belong to him or if they've been there much longer. DNA testing is ordered, but the process will take weeks. For the family, the agony stretches on. The possibility that these fragments belong to him brings no peace, only more dread. The photos from his phone resurface in the media. Experts analyze the strange images, arguing over whether the shadowed figures are illusions or evidence of another presence. Some believe he hallucinated in the brutal heat, paranoia driving him to snap frantic pictures of nothing. Others point to the deliberate framing, the sense of intent in the way the shots were taken, insisting he knew someone or something was following him. Online, theories spiral. Some insist he was lured or forced to the cliff, his shoes placed carefully as a symbol. Others whisper about cult activity in the canyon, citing past rumors of rituals held in the wilderness. And then there are those who believe the canyon itself claimed him, part of a long line of disappearances that defy logic. Authorities, under pressure, release a statement. Evidence strongly suggests the individual may have suffered an accident, consistent with a fall or disorientation in dangerous terrain. But privately, even some rangers admit the placement of the shoes and the nature of the photos are highly unusual. The DNA results eventually come back, the bones match. Officially, the case is closed. But there's no closure. His family refuses to accept the explanation of a simple accident. His mother points again and again to his final journal entry. "I don't think I'm alone out here." To this day, hikers in that region of the Grand Canyon report strange sensations, feeling watched, hearing whispers carried on the wind, glimpsing figures at the edge of their vision that vanish when approached. Some avoid the cliff altogether, calling it cursed ground. And so the mystery lingers, suspended between official reports and haunting unanswered questions. Why were his shoes placed so neatly on the edge? Who or what was captured in those eerie photos? Did he fall victim to the canyon's unforgiving wilderness, or to something far stranger? Perhaps the canyon holds the truth, buried in its depths where no one dares to go. Perhaps his story is just one more echo in a place that has swallowed countless lives before, and perhaps in the shadows of the cliffs, the answer still waits watching.